From Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Welcome to ABC4 News at 10. I'm Glenn Mills.
And I'm Emily Flores. We thank you for joining us here tonight. After a record-breaking winter, the snowpack beginning to melt finally, and that water is heading toward the Great Salt Lake. Hydrology professionals in Utah saying that the Great Salt Lake is benefiting already, rising a total of more than 3 feet since the record low was recorded, with an expectation of 2 to 4 more feet with the ongoing runoff and snowmelt.
It really emphasizes the most powerful thing we can do is live within our means, right? We can't expect nature year after year to give us above average winters, especially now facing these issues of climate change and long-term drought.
Yep, we're talking conservation still. If you're looking for ways to conserve water, DWR recommending to wait on watering your lawns and gardens because the ground is already very saturated. They also recommend looking into water-wise plants and landscaping that won't require immense amounts of water to maintain.
Turning now to a first look at the weather forecast. Some cooler temperatures coming in, but the concern of flooding remains.
Yes, indeed. Meteorologist Thomas Gieboy in for Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy. Thomas, what can we expect this week?
Yeah, so the roller coaster that we're on continues. We've been talking about it for a little while now, but after another warm day today where we saw temperatures well above our average, we'll see those temperatures cool back down, which should help a lot of the increased runoff that we've seen, but it won't completely eliminate our flooding concerns. We'll talk about that in just a second. But today we saw generally 60s and 70s in northern Utah for those daytime highs, and we even got into the 80s once again in St. George. Temperatures are beginning to cool down, but those warm temperatures again still come those flooding concerns. The only flood advisory, though, that we have in Utah includes Emigration Creek. This is in effect, and it continues through Wednesday morning, so through late Wednesday morning. So even though we're going to see those cooler temperatures, there is going to be that potential for flooding, where as we go into tonight in the overnight hours, we could see that peak where flooding will be a possibility along Emigration Creek and areas downstream. Levels expected to fall off as we go into tomorrow morning, but could rise again as we go into our Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, because the chance for some wet weather will be there, and that could add to some of that water moving its way downstream. So if you're included within that flood advisory, just make sure that you're staying tuned and take those extra precautions just in case. But we are seeing some changes to our weather. This is the view from Solitude right now, and as you can tell, we've actually got some snow falling up Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon, because we're seeing showers moving into the northern portion of the state. Most of what we have seen has been in the high country. If you looked outside around sundown this evening, we saw a lot of virga across the Wasatch Front. That's precipitation that's falling that evaporates before hitting the ground. But as we go into tonight, the chance for wet weather will increase as the moisture continues to increase, and we have a storm system approaching from our northwest. And that storm system will bring us much cooler temperatures as we make our way into the middle of the week. So temperatures, instead of being 10 degrees above average today in northern Utah, will be about 10 degrees below our seasonal averages, and will keep the unsettled weather, the chance for wet weather, more or less through Thursday, before high pressure will start to build in going into the end of the work week into this upcoming weekend. So more changes coming in store for our weather, but we'll time things out for you on the future cast coming up in just a few minutes. Glenn, Emily.
All right, thank you so much, Thomas. So this is the anniversary of what can happen when record snowfall melts. 40 years ago this week, Utahns were watching the most costly landslide of that time dam up a small river and wipe out a town. Workers saw the earth move about 2 feet an hour for a week until 65,000 acres of dirt created the lake that drowned the town of Thistle.
Yeah, it was a wild time. I remember it well. It would go on to destroy US 6 between Spanish Fork and Price. It would stop all Amtrak and coal train traffic, and it would be Utah's first disaster declaration. ABC4's Craig Wirth remembering the April of 1983 fight to stay on top of the earth from moving.
This is Spanish Fork Canyon, a peaceful vista of mountain scenery. Well, part of that beautiful vista fell down April 13th, 1983. It was a landslide that wouldn't quit sliding no matter what anyone did.
It's moving something like 1 to 2 feet an hour.
Crews worked 24 hours a day trying to pack it down, trying to do about anything, but it just kept growing from pressure below. In a seemingly unbelievable few days, the slide reached 130 feet high. Worse, it dammed up the lazy little Spanish Fork River, which was little no more. It made a reservoir 90 feet deep within days, and it all kept getting bigger. Just ask the senator.
It's just far bigger than you can realize from any reports or pictures that you get.
Ask anyone who was working on the slide.
Such a massive amount of earth that is still moving. The earth we're standing on is moving.
The newspaper was right. It changed by the hour. And the reservoir shoreline also grew. The town of Thistle was now in that growth. 4 days later, it was time to move. No, not just move, it was time to run. There was no choice, and there was no turning back at this point. And it all kept getting worse. Now pretty much all was flooded to window level. And a day later, only roofs were showing. And the water kept coming and coming. It was one of the wettest winters ever, and it was all rising to the surface. Officials turned to the best weather computers around. Nothing seemed to fit any model. The state geologist said that there was nothing like it at any time.
There are anomalies that we're trying to examine.
Meanwhile, the bulldozers kept bulldozing. And it goes without saying the road was closed, for it was over 100 feet down and also in the lake, now 130 feet deep. And what about the train tracks? Well, Utah's coal was also not moving. The tracks were now under the mountain and the lake. The Denver and Rio Grande Rail made a diversion tunnel. The state figured out it needed to build around all this. But meanwhile, the lake was now 170 feet deep, with a pretty nasty shoreline. The next solution was to pump and pipe. The pumps were put on a barge. Now these were not small pipes and pumps.
We have 5 centrifugal pumps. Each pump pumps approximately 22,500 gallons a minute.
And that's pretty much how they got rid of 14.5 billion gallons of water. So today, if you travel through what was Thistle, you will see some strange sights. They are remnants of Lake Thistle. See, nothing like this should have ever happened in Utah. And you wonder, just as our officials wondered. After all, this is a pretty dry state. And it would cause Governor Matheson to give us one of the best quotations of all time. This is a hell of a way to run a desert. Sure, you will see parts of the slide from a road that was built anew, and you will wonder, how did this all end up underwater? What happened was pretty much summed up by the newspaper. Once a town, now a lake. And if you didn't have the pictures, you just couldn't have imagined it today. For as we know, in Utah, near record snowfall plus warm weather can equal floods. And this certainly was the extreme case. Craig Wirth, ABC 4 News.
We're just days away from this year's Salt Lake City Marathon. The city releasing a map today to warn drivers which roads are going to be closed down this Saturday. They say anyone living around and moving around this area could see substantial delays. There are 8 events planned for Saturday, including the marathon, half marathon, bike tour, and several short distance running events. You can find more detailed information about what's closing and when on the website we have right there at the bottom of the screen.
And an open house meeting tonight at Hunter High about Granite School District's school boundaries. The Granite School District currently conducting a population analysis study in the Cypress, Kearns, and Hunter school areas. The studies are conducted every year in areas where student population numbers have changed significantly. The study process allows for a full year of community input before a decision is made to adjust school boundaries, consolidate schools, or close schools.
Also new at 10, the University of Utah Center of Medical Innovation hosting all 8 Utah College institutions for the 13th Bench to Bedside competition tonight. The competition consists of students who have invented medical devices. More than 80 students making up 27 teams. $100,000 in prize money up for grabs.
You know, there's been several that have found great success, but every year is so different because the students can pick any area of medicine in the human body and they develop those technologies for future use. So the range of devices and technologies has been immense.
The life science industry is one of the fastest growing in our state, with many medical device, pharma, and bio companies coming to Utah. The ABC4 family mourning the passing of a friend and colleague today, Tracy Smith, playing a key role in gathering and reporting the news that matters to you.
Yeah, tonight we are remembering Tracy and the legacy he leaves behind. It's been a tough day here at ABC4 after learning about the loss of our longtime photojournalist Tracy Smith, who passed away earlier this morning. Tracy started working for us back in 2011. During his time at ABC4, Tracy worked as a promotions producer. He was a member of our digital team and then joined the newsroom as a photojournalist, where telling stories through his lens was his greatest joy. Tracy has worked in the news industry for nearly 4 decades. Those who had the pleasure of working alongside Tracy understood his joy. Tracy had an extremely positive influence in our newsroom. He was always lifting people up and giving out accolades to coworkers. He was truly one of a kind. With a sweet spirit and infectious personality, he was one of the hardest workers in the industry and truly loved what he did. Tracy will be remembered most for his storytelling both on air and off. He enjoyed reminiscing about his military service, the great people of the state of Utah, and all of his experiences throughout the years. Tracy is survived by his wife, Shauna, a dear friend and coworker here at ABC4. This Friday would have been their 30th anniversary. In addition to his wife, Tracy leaves behind 2 daughters. We love you, Tracy, and miss you dearly.